And the last question that got sent in was somebody had asked about suitability. And, whenever there's a 3 of a thing on a test, I would stand by for the accept format. So, what I would be expecting as a test taker is under Federal Rule 2111, all the following are suitability obligations except. And D will be something that isn't, because there's actually 3 main suitability. The first one is reasonable basis suitability. What I think about here is I think about product. When I was a baby broker, I made a gazillion cold calls using the Franklin tax-free fund. And so I have a reasonable basis to believe that when I'm making this call, I'm going to find somebody in a high income tax bracket for whom this would be appropriate. Right. So I think of this first one, reasonable basis, is that I think there's somebody that this might make sense to. Customer specific. Here I think of a guy I had, and he wanted to make this investment. I said, listen, I got to do some more data gathering, because based on what I have so far, your profile, I know the compliance department is going to be all over me. The compliance department sometimes is called the sales prevention department. And in most situations, a man of your age, this would be inappropriate. You have articulated to me that I think it is appropriate, and it's your money. And so I'm going to go to bat for you. And then when compliance calls me, I'll say, well, listen, give the guy a call. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. He's in a very unique situation. I would agree that, without this other, did you check what I sent you? I went way beyond what I usually do to qualify this customer and verify that. I had a guy who wanted to short this stock, and compliance wouldn't let him do it because it had a dividend. And he actually thought they were going to omit or cut the dividend. He was right. And then, he was mad because we would let him short the stock, right? So I think of this now as a specific customer that under other circumstance, perhaps this would not be appropriate, but in this unique situation of this customer, it is a suitable recommendation. And then the last one is quantitative suitability. And so when I think quantitative, I think number, quantity. And what this one is about is if I'm making a series of recommendations, each of these recommendations in of itself will look appropriate. However, when we string them together, we go, is Dean generating commissions? Is this just really churning? I mean, for example, how many growth funds does a guy need? So maybe the growth fund is suitable. Does he really need a Fidelity, and he needs an American fund, and it looks like me that the series of recommendations are avoiding a breakpoint, for example, right? So that's quantitative, right? Or, maybe I'm making a series of recommendations about covered calls. Do you really need 15 of them in a month? Probably not. Right. So those are the 3 standards of suitability under Federal Rule 2111. And that was that last one, right? I think of this one excessive. I think kind of like churn.